Get a job and stop being a leech. Those words came from my daughter-in-law in the middle of a family dinner. Everyone at the table went silent. My son looked away, pretending he did not hear the cruelty in her voice. I should have been embarrassed. I should have cried. But instead I smiled, because what she did not know was that the woman she was insulting was worth $5 million. My name is Evelyn Holloway, and for 3 years I lived a secret life. Not because I had to, but because I wanted to discover who people really were when they thought I had nothing left to offer. After my husband Harold passed away, I moved into a small apartment, wore simple clothes, drove an old car, and lived like I was struggling financially. But it was all an illusion. Harold and I had built a successful business over 20 years. After his death, I inherited millions in investments, properties, and savings. I was not poor. I was testing the people around me. My son Darren had always been my pride. He was loving and kind when he was younger. But after marrying Thalia, I slowly watched him change. Thalia cared about appearances. She judged people by what they owned, what they wore, and what they could provide. For years, she treated me like a burden. During that dinner, she looked at me and said, "You are still young enough to work. Maybe you should get a job instead of depending on others." I looked at Darren, hoping he would defend me. He stayed silent. That silence hurt more than her words. I placed my fork down and calmly said, "You should be careful judging people. Sometimes the person you underestimate has more than you could ever imagine." Thalia laughed. She thought I was powerless. 3 days later, Darren visited my apartment. He looked around at my simple furniture and small kitchen. "Mom, why are you living like this?" I looked at him and asked, "When was the last time your wife asked how I felt instead of asking what I needed?" He had no answer. Then I walked to my bookshelf and pulled out a folder. Inside were my real financial documents. Darren opened them slowly. His face changed. "Mom, what is this?" "This is the truth." I told him everything. I was not struggling. I was a millionaire. He stared at me in disbelief. "Why did you let us believe you were poor?" I looked into my son's eyes and said, "Because I needed to know who would still love me when they thought I had nothing." The truth broke something inside him. But Thalia was not ready to accept defeat. When she learned about my money, she called me furious. "You lied to us." I calmly asked, "How did you help me? By insulting me? By telling me I was a burden?" She had no answer. Then I revealed what I had discovered. Thalia had secretly researched how to gain control over my finances. She had even spoken with a lawyer about ways to handle an elderly person's assets. She was not worried about me. She was interested in my money. The biggest shock came when I revealed the truth about their house. The house they lived in. The house they thought belonged to them. It was mine. I had purchased it years earlier and allowed them to believe they built their life there themselves. I placed the documents on the table and said, "This house belongs to me. You have 30 minutes to pack your things." For the first time, Thalia looked afraid. Darren finally saw the woman he had married. But Thalia did not stop. She started spreading lies about me, telling relatives I was unstable and needed help. She even filed a false report claiming she was protecting me. She thought she could destroy my reputation. She was wrong. I went to the police station with my lawyer and presented every piece of evidence. Her lies, her plans, her attempts to access my money. The truth came out. Thalia was arrested for making false accusations and trying to manipulate the situation. Months later, Darren's divorce was finalized. One evening he called me with news. "Mom, I met someone." I smiled but felt nervous. After everything we had been through, I wanted to make sure he found someone who loved him, not what he had. Her name was Rebecca. She was kind, simple, and had no idea about our family wealth. For the first time in years, my son sounded truly happy. That night I sat on my terrace and thought about everything. I lost people who judged me without knowing the truth. I lost years pretending to be someone I was not. But I gained something priceless. I discovered who truly loved me. I saved my son from a life built on lies. And I finally stopped hiding. I was not a helpless widow. I was Evelyn Holloway, a mother, a survivor, a woman who learned that people should never be judged by what they appear to have. Because sometimes the person everyone underestimates is the one who has the greatest strength.